should be noted that we have McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook knocked a bit for their injuries and injury histories, respectively. Because if healthy, I think Christian McCaffrey's pretty safely the number one running back in football. Dalvin Cook is up there when healthy. He's just almost never healthy. We talked about it. We talked about this when we made the list. Dalvin Cook has been healthy for 1 year in his college and professional career. Christian McCaffrey has been hurt for 1 year in his college and professional career. So I fought very hard to have McCaffrey over Dalvin Cook. They wanted Dalvin Cook over McCaffrey because he was coming off the healthier season. No. Christian McCaffrey's injury history is much less extensive, and he's a way better receiver. Like, he can actually run routes.
I just don't think Christian McCaffrey's injury history is even worth talking about, man. Like, a high ankle sprain that he got, and then he had like that shoulder. What was it? He had a shoulder injury from Teddy Bridgewater over.
Yeah,
he could have played through it. He absolutely could have. I think the Panthers shut him down on purpose. Like, I really do. I think they saw what they had in the year, and they saw Mike Davis performing well. Like, while they had their like $65 million a year, $65 million running back like wrapped up in bubble wrap, just letting them chill till next year because like it wasn't like they were doing anything. I don't think his injuries are that bad. I think the high ankle sprain was like enough to keep him sidelined for half the season. But I think we shut down because of how the rest of the team was performing.
Yeah, the rest of the team stunk.
You weren't there when we made the list. So I just want to let you know, like, so the big thing about this list is it's like how good we think they are, but how good they're going to be this year. So
Yeah, this isn't on a reflection on how they played last year. It's us predicting the top 5 NFL running backs for this coming year.
I personally had Dalvin and Christian tied, both because of injuries. Dalvin played pretty decent last year. I say pretty decent, really well, but he still missed games. So I'm always afraid to knock on every wood. And then Christian coming back from a injury is going to start slow, unless he's a freak. I don't know. I'm assuming that he's going to start slow. That doesn't mean he's not good. I had them tied. I had Derrick Henry first because his team made it easier for him to be better. And he's a fucking tank. And he's the rushing leader 2 years in a row. So it's hard for me to go, Derrick's not number one when he does it, he doesn't get hurt, and his team made him better. Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook is a toss-up for me, as in if both of them are healthy, I can see both of them going for it, right? Taking it. And then you got to see who catches the ball more. And it's probably going to be CMC, right? So there you go. That's my top 3. That's the only people I care about on this list, honestly.
Real quick on just a quick comment.
Hey, I want to let you know, buddy. I tried. I fought for him. They said no. He was my number 5 guy. That's why I said I don't care about this list.
See, so now I'm gonna bring up kind of my biggest concerns and the reason why I move people around on my list. It is injuries. I do take in the fact of injuries because with the running back position, you never truly know like how they're going to bounce back from injuries because running backs they change so often and they kind of, you can just see emergence and disappearance from running backs so easily. And I'm not saying like they are going to completely disappear, but they can slide tremendously depending on how they bounce back from an injury, especially a high ankle sprain could be tricky because of the explosiveness of Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey still can be good, but he might not have that same explosive step. Maybe he might be a little bit more limited. Same with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is phenomenal, but then, it just depends, especially with his hamstrings. He has a very abundance of like hamstring injuries. At least he had a nagging hamstring injury that kept him out. So
I don't mean to cut you off, but so ACL injuries are tied directly to hamstring injuries. So if you have an ACL injury and you play, you're going to get a hamstring injury because your hamstring is going to start taking over more. So he tore his ACL in college. He had hamstring issues. He tore his ACL rookie year. The next year had hamstring issues. But a year removed from that, so the year after that, that's not a problem. He had a shoulder problem because he got tackled late last year and missed stuff.
Didn't he have surgery on both shoulders?
Because of that, yeah. And he played through a lot of it.
But CJ wanted to knock Christian McCaffrey for a shoulder injury. He would have played for if we weren't in contention for a top 5
pick. A shoulder injury and a high ankle sprain injury. I didn't even mention the shoulder.
Which he came back from the high ankle sprain though. He had 160 yards in that game against the Chiefs, and he didn't miss any. It didn't miss a beat. What do you have? He had two touchdowns, 10 receptions for like 80 something yards, and he had 18 rushes for 70, which is not that great. But like we didn't have any other offense moving that game. I mean, we did, but McCaffrey hit the ground quite literally running, and I think he'll do it again.
I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. I'm not going to sit here and talk anything bad about him. He's not my number 2, tied with 2, because of pure injury, and it could be weird.
I also do have Alvin Kamara higher for me personally. I think that he will probably have a bigger role in this offense for New Orleans Saints, especially depending on how Michael Thomas bounced back or if they want to trade him this year. I don't know. I don't think his contract's tradable right now, is it?
I don't think it's not. No, not at all. It's just starting, and he is expensive as hell. Like I don't got the numbers on me.
It's gonna hurt the team if he trades it. It's not gonna be worth it for the team. It hurts them.
Talk about Kamara.
Yeah, I think they have Michael Thomas. They got a ton of dead cap if they let him go now. If they move on from him this year, he is going to cost them $23 million this year, $14 next year, and $6 the year after. If they move him right now, yes. The Saints are not going to do that. Like they're right up against the cap like every year. Like Michael Thomas is immovable for them. They brought him in. They signed him to give Drew Brees the last little bit to keep their guys happy, and it failed. And they're just going to have to deal with the fallout after that.
The thing about Kamara is, how are they going to put? Are they going to end up putting like 9 in the box, 8 in the box against that team, and just being like, all right, throw the ball?
Yeah, they're going to throw it to Kamara. That's why he's up here. He's also exceptional out of the backfield.
He is the slipperiest dude in the NFL. Like, it is frustrating how many tackles I've watched my own team miss on this guy for the last 3 years. Like, I have every expectation of him continuing his season from last year. Like, because once he started getting rolling, he was amazing for the final stretch. And I think he'll do the same thing this year. It'll be just like when the Panthers leaned heavy on McCaffrey when Kyle Allen was our quarterback. Like, no one's worried about Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill, depending on who it's going to be. It could end up being Taysom Hill because Sean Payton is an idiot. But like, I don't think that Alvin Kamara is going to. I think he's going to be the focal point of that offense. I think Michael Thomas will fall off a little bit, but I think Kamara is going to have a great season.
I mean, he fell off last year too, but I mean, it was due to injuries. We'll see how he does once. If he can play a full season this year, see how he will be post Drew Brees. Also, Nick Chubb. I think the thing about Nick Chubb is definitely an elite running back. Big fans of him for obvious reasons.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
But the fact is, though, like he's still put up great numbers with another top 10, top 15 running back. That they're splitting carries with, which is pretty crazy to be honest with you. Here's a question: like, what do you think? How do you think Nick Chubb would be if Kareem Hunt wasn't on this team? Do you think he would still put in production,
or do you think top 3 at least?
Bro, he's Adrian Pearson light. He's Adrian Pearson light.
Nick Chubb can catch.
Okay, so I wasn't saying the negative things. I said light. Come on.
It's 2.0 then.
God damn
light
it.
is something worse then.
No, that's not.
Yeah.
Light means he's kind of like that.
No,
iPhone light is different.
Light means worse. Like Austin Eckler is CMC light.
In your world. In my world, no. They're similar.
All right, so let's go to. So shout out to Brandon. He messes with the list.
He also
Shout
has a
out.
perfect segue into our next segment. Because our
does.
next segment is underrated running backs, and Mike Davis is one of them.
He is.
I don't think he's top 5. I don't even think he's top 10, but he is really underrated. I mean, you go back to look at him at South Carolina, he was a monster. He played really well in Seattle when they gave him carries.
Hold
I
on,
don't
let me ask you a
know
question.
what the heck happened in Chicago. And then
Hold
you
on,
saw
let
him
me ask you a
ball out
question.
for the Panthers last year. Go ahead, Kyle.
David Montgomery or Mike Davis? Who would you put above on the list?
Montgomery,
For real life or fantasy?
easy.
Real
Both.
life.
I
Like
mean,
you're starting your team and they're both at your front door. You're like, we'll both take whatever you gave us, and then who you picking?
Real life Montgomery, fantasy, give me Mike Davis.
Okay.
I think
I'm just
that
curious
depends entirely on who's calling the plays, man. Like, I think David Montgomery is more he has a lot more burst and he's stronger right now at his age because he's younger. I am not so convinced that Mike
I don't know
Davis
if he
can
is
handle full
stronger.
load.
You seen those quads?
No, I've seen those quads, man. I just am not so convinced that Mike Davis can handle a full load all year. Like he came in and he was insane for like 5 or 6 games straight. But the team started easing off of him because his production started dropping, and then we started bringing in practice squad running backs to spell him all the time instead of just letting him go for the whole game. Like I don't know if Mike Davis' conditioning can handle a full season, and I'm not sure if that'll be a problem that he can fix in one off season.
See, that's why I like him for fantasy, because the Falcons don't really have any other established running backs on that roster to challenge him for touches.
They like that one guy. I can't think of his name right now.
The rookie?
No, not did they drafted a rookie?
Ito Smith?
No, the one that
Smith,
they like.
that's who it is.
Is that who they like took Todd Gurley out and like, this guy's a starter, he's kind of good, and like just threw him in like week 17 or whatever, week 18, whatever, 16.
I think it's Ito Smith.
It might be Ito Smith. I don't even know if he's on their roster anymore, though. I feel like he was a free agent.
Yeah,
Why are you looking at
it? Gun to my head, I couldn't tell you who Atlanta's backup running back is.
Yeah, he's a free agent.
All right, someone go to the list. It's Cordero Patterson on that team. He's the backup.
Ooh, did he sign with them?
Oh.
Yeah, he did.
did.
He did. Yeah, he'll be the backup.
Trust me, I know where Cordero Patterson is. He said he was like, "Hey Vikings, I'll come back," and then we just like, no.
Because then he moved. Did he move to a fullback or tight end position?
He's a player.
Yeah,
He plays wide
running
receiver and running back. He's listed as a running back on their roster, so that's.
What
I
jersey
think he
number
is the
does he have?
backup.
Hold on, what jersey?
He'll probably
number
end
does he
up-
have?
he'll
He's
probably
still listed as 84, but I don't know if he's going to keep that. They did draft Javian Hawkins, who's a really fast, elusive.
He's little, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what
195 from Louisville.
Oh yeah. He's super fast. He can catch. Yeah.
So I mean, he'll probably be like the third down back, change of pace
Mhm.
back.
I think that fits
but
Matt Ryan really well. Holy shit.
I think Mike Davis is going to get the lion's share of the touches in this
Yeah.
backfield.
Oh, for sure. Like he definitely will. I just am not so sure that like that rushing attack's going to work, and I'm also not really a believer in Arthur Smith. Like I feel like I feel like the offense he ran in Tennessee was very cut and dry, and he just lucked into Derrick Henry and AJ Brown, and they just kind of did their thing every game. Like they were running the most bare bones basic offense all year, and it worked just because Derrick Henry is a human freight train. Like,
they got a really good left tackle. I want to say top 5, but it's hard to say that because I have to go through all the left tackles. Their offensive line's pretty decent.
didn't they lose him during the year though?
Yeah.
hurt.
He got hurt. That's why. But Taylor Warren's my favorite. He's the most swaggy offensive lineman in the league. Just shout out.
Falcons
But
did lose Alex
I'm not a
Mack,
fan of him at
so
all.
that
I
might
hate Taylor Lewan.
affect their offensive line.
yeah, he's good, Brandon. I like Hawkins as a receiving guy, which I don't care about on my team. That's why I wasn't interested in him. But yeah, Hawkins, he
You drafted Kene Nwangu for that.
He has 3 targets, bro. Stop it. He's a punt returner. Please stop it. Stop. Stop. But he runs a West Coast wide zone offense, but he has a running back that doesn't have to cut back, which is insane. Like, he doesn't have to read the holes. He can just put his 800-pound body through it, and then it's like, oh, it's open now. So it's pretty cool.
Didn't the Titans start pretty slow last year?
Yeah, they started slow as hell.
Yeah, they start slow every year.
They also had COVID, and they ruined my
Because Derrick
fantasy.
Henry doesn't get good till November.
In
Yeah,
December, he's untouchable.
correct.
But you got to think they had
Yeah.
COVID for like 3 weeks. They
That's-
ruined my fantasy.
that's
at the
also
beginning of the
true.
year.
Yeah, AJ Brown
Yeah.
missed, I want to say 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, half my big money league had 3 Titans on it. No, it had 2, but whatever. The big ones, AJ Brown and Derrick Henry.
And I also had Jimmy Smith, who I think
Was he hurt too?
he caught COVID for a little bit. I remember dealing with that with my one league with no IL spots. So
Ooh,
I
that's
was just
tough.
like, yeah, dude, I fucking dropped him and picked
Okay.
up Hawkinson, and then dropped Hawkinson and picked up Tanyan, and just wanted it off myself the rest of the year. But
Yeah. I mean, I think their play designs were pretty good. I mean, look at the fact that Anthony Ferkser was getting, like, I think he had like 6 touchdowns. Who's their backup tight end? I think just him having 6 touchdowns and nobody know who he is kind of a testament to Arthur Smith's play design and play calling.
didn't Dan Arnold? No one knows who he is either.
He only had 4, I want to say.
Listen, they have like one of the best fullbacks in the league. Underrated. Shouts out to that man.
Kari Blossom game.
Is
he
that's
good?
not how you say
I don't
it,
know.
but I'll give it to you. Oh, he good as in yes. He's gonna need like 2 more years, and everyone's gonna be like, "That's that hardworking tone setter, Blasingame over there."
He's a
That guy
traditional
sets the
fullback.
tone. He's a real
I
running
love
back,
a
but
fullback.
he hits like a truck. If you want to go watch Vikings preseason, I thought he was gonna make the roster, but we had CJ Ham, so it was tough.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot. I was really hoping we found a way to keep him, but who rosters 2 fullbacks? Like what?
Yeah.
John Gruden.
No, I love the fullback position, but it's getting
Good
it's like being revitalized. You know, Kyle Shanahan's responsible for bringing the fullback back. I swear, but like, you really just Juszczyk is amazing. Like I'm really hoping the Panthers drafted our own and Tommy Tremble, because like I think that's what he's going to be doing. I think he's going to primarily be a blocker and like won't be catching the ball much, and I think he's going to be an animal doing it.
I don't think he'll
But-
be catching much as a rookie. I think he could grow into traditional tight end.
Hold on,
I
is that
think he
the
will. I'm not.
H-back?
No,
Yeah.
he's the tight end we took in the 3rd round. We took him because he played most of his snaps at Notre Dame at fullback, but he also just a blocking tight end. You know, he was a tight end that took most of them like around the line behind the line, like right around the quarterback. But he didn't really show up on the stat sheet much. But if you look up his highlights, it's all blocking, and he is a fucking animal. And I think that's what he's going to be for us right out the gate. I think we're going to use him like a blocking fullback until he develops as a pass catcher. But I think the fullback is back, and I am excited to see all the other new offenses bringing it back in there and just having these big meaty boys just shoving other men,
Handling the loads, taking all
handling
the loads,
them
right?
loads. Yeah, dude.
Busting those
Absolutely.
holes wide open, buddy.
Okay, let's
All right,
move on. So Kyle,
big
who is
pause.
one of your underrated running backs? We kind of talked about a couple different guys, but who do you want to put as your official stamp of your underrated running back?
I have a guy, if you watch the show, I said it last week, but because of what's going on, I'm going to pick a new guy. And there's a guy named Aaron Jones. He's was pretty good last year. And there's not going to be a guy named Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So they're going to run the ball like crazy. And I think he's crazy talented. I think fantasy-wise, he's going to get a lot of shares. And I wouldn't be surprised if he like jumped in the top 5 of fantasy. That has nothing to do with like talent and better than the guys there. And then honorable mention is definitely Barkley if he makes it back. and he's healthy. I like Barkley in my top 5, but they didn't like it. So,
I feel like Barkley needs to show something before he deserves a top 5 spot. He's missed 2 years in a row. Like we all know he's got the talent. We all know it, but he just hasn't had the ability to show it yet, or at least not since his rookie year. And I think that's the only thing keeping him from in the top 5, or other than like the 5 talented guys in front of him. But like, I think Barkley is still floating in the top 10, but I think he's around like 9 or 10 right now, just based on he's only there because of his potential talent, but his injury history keeps him from being like too high.
True.
CJ, you got any underrated running backs?
Well, I mean, I'm very biased.
Oh, yeah.
As we all know. But
you have reason to with this guy, though.
What?
See, you have reason to back this guy, though. If
Yes.
you're going with who I think you're going with.
Antonio Gibson is a running back that's going to explode. He's going to explode this year all over the field. I can't wait for it. As you can see, you're going to see his grill all the time after he scores touchdowns.
Are we going to see it more than Alvin Kamara's grill? Because I remember
I
seeing that.
hope so.
Was it 5 times, 6 times?
6 times in a single game?
Against Kyle's Vikings?
that shit does not count, bro. Stop bringing that shit up. If you can name 4 of my defensive starters, then you're a real Vikings fan, and you need to stop watching the Panthers.
For that game, I probably couldn't.
Exactly.
Ben
They don't
Gideon?
play in the NFL anymore.
Ben Gideon?
No. The
Yeah.
only real one was Harrison Smith, maybe.
Y'all still have Daniel
Dancer
Hunter too,
didn't
right?
play?
No,
No,
we
he was
do,
out
but
all
he
last
didn't.
year.
He didn't play all last year. We had a guy named Blake Lynch who was a running back at Baylor. He's a practice squad linebacker only because he ran like a 4.2 or 4.44. Ugh, I went the wrong way. And he was a running back at Baylor, and he started at middle linebacker against the Saints. He wasn't on the roster all year. He was a practice squad guy, and he started against the Saints.
What about the defensive lineman from Baylor?
Oh, he has like the highest sack rating in the for rookies because
Did he play that game?
He doesn't play, but he played like 8 snaps and he has a sack and a pressure, so he's like the highest like sack pressure rating in the NFL. He just doesn't qualify for any of them.
All right, Tucker. Who was your official entrant for your underrated running back?
All right, I got 3, and I'm having a hard time picking between them. I think I'm gonna go. I think my first one I'm gonna say, this man is even underrated by his own team, and it's James Robinson. I think he is a stud, and I cannot believe that the Jags took another running back with their second first round pick when they had a under